Imagine reciting a beautiful, really emotional poem to a judge who, only wants your exact GPS coordinates.
Right. They're just sitting there waiting for the numbers.
Exactly. And that is practically what millions of e-commerce stores are doing right now. They're pitching these incredibly evocative brand stories to AI shopping agents that literally only understand raw, structured data.
Yeah, it's a massive disconnect.
Totally. So welcome, learner, to today's deep dive. We are on a mission to uncover exactly how the future of online shopping is being invisibly rewired.
Because it really is an invisible shift, isn't it?
It really is. And, whether you're an entrepreneur or a tech enthusiast or just someone who relies on ChatGPT to find product recommendations, understanding how AI actually sees a product is crucial. It's the key to understanding the modern digital economy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we spent the last 2 decades optimizing for search engines, for human eyeballs.
Right, SEO and all that.
Yeah, exactly. But the gatekeepers are changing now. When conversational AI agents become the primary way people find things, the old rules of digital merchandising they break down completely.
Which is why we're pulling from some super fascinating source material today. We're looking at an article published on April 9th, 2026 by the Agentic team.
Really great piece.
Yeah, it's titled, What Changes When You Optimize a Shopify Product for AI Agents? And it gives us this highly technical, tangible look at a before and after breakdown of a Shopify product listing.
It's super revealing.
It is. Okay, let's unpack this. We have this huge disconnect between what we, as humans, find appealing and what AI shopping agents actually understand.
Yeah, because historically the goal of online shopping was to basically replicate the vibe of an in-person boutique.
Right, you want the mood lighting, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want the atmospheric language, stunning lifestyle imagery, a really compelling brand narrative. You're optimizing for human emotion.
Because humans buy on emotion.
Yes. But an AI shopping agent, fundamentally it operates on logic and deterministic data retrieval. It doesn't possess the capacity to feel the warmth of a brand story.
Right. They are that judge demanding the GPS coordinates.
Exactly.
Selling to an AI using this beautiful poetic description is like trying to give a robot driving directions by reciting a poem about the open road.
That's a great way to put it.
It sounds beautiful, but the robot just crashes. It has no idea what to do with that. So there has to be a way to speak its language without ruining the human vibe.
Right.
And to understand the solution, we first have to look at how beautifully written human-centric marketing completely fails the AI. The article gives us this central case study. It's a fictional Shopify listing for a ceramic pour-over coffee dripper.
Oh, yeah, the coffee gear market, a category that is just notorious for relying on aesthetic and artisanal storytelling over actual hard specs.
Oh, totally. Everything is artisanal. So the original listing's title is simply The Morning Ritual.
Sounds very mysterious.
Right. Very poetic. And the description reads, let me quote it here. Handcrafted from premium ceramic, the morning ritual transforms your daily coffee routine into a moment of mindful pleasure. Each piece is made by skilled artisans who pour their passion into every detail. Experience coffee the way it was meant to be enjoyed.
What's fascinating here is what actually happens under the hood when a large language model processes that text.
Right, because it's not reading it like we do.
Exactly. When an AI agent scans that paragraph, it tokenizes the words. It maps them into a high-dimensional vector space. So it identifies a semantic cluster around, coffee, ceramic, and morning.
Okay.
But that is literally the extent of its comprehension. It doesn't build a conceptual 3D model of a product in its mind. It just calculates the mathematical relationship between the words on the page.
So from that beautifully written text, it extracts almost nothing functional.
Basically nothing.
It knows there's a ceramic coffee item called the Morning Ritual, but it doesn't know the price. It doesn't know the size or even who it's for.
Right. And AI isn't just blind here, it's aggressively risk-averse.
Wait, what do you mean by risk-averse?
Well, think about a user prompt. If someone asks ChatGPT for, say, a high-quality pour-over dripper under $60 for 2 cups, the AI agent initiates a search based on constraints.
Okay, so it's looking to check those specific boxes.
Exactly. But when it evaluates the morning ritual, it finds no data. Nothing about capacity, nothing about the brewing method, nothing about price. It has to guess.
Oh, and it hates guessing.
It penalizes ambiguity heavily. So it completely bypasses this perfect product because it lacks verifiable anchors.
Wow. Because AI cannot infer or feel a product's value, merchants have to explicitly translate those human use cases into verifiable data points, and they have to do it without destroying the brand story.
Right. Which brings us to the after example in the article.
Yeah, the optimized listing. The title alone changes. It goes from just the morning ritual to the morning ritual ceramic pour over coffee dripper, 2-cup capacity.
Immediately establishing the parameters.
Yes. And then the description dives into these incredibly granular specs. They keep the opening line about craftsmanship, so the poetry is still there, but then they hit you with the hard data.
The GPS coordinates?
Exactly. It's not just premium ceramic, it's high-fired porcelain ceramic.
And they add the 250 milliliter capacity.
Right, and the compatibility with hashtag #Zo2 conical paper filters.
They even specify the requirement for a medium fine grind.
And it goes on. 9-centimeter height, 11-centimeter diameter at the top, a 340-gram weight, made in Portugal. It's just fact after fact.
And by explicitly injecting all those variables, the merchant alters the mathematical weight of the listing for the AI.
Making it a sure thing.
Exactly. If a user queries a 250 milliliter porcelain dripper, the AI doesn't have to guess. The similarity between the prompt and the data is a perfect match.
Okay, but what about the best for and how to use sections? Because they added this part explicitly calling out target demographics, like home baristas learning pour-over technique.
Yeah, that part is critical for intent matching.
Intent match.
Yeah, AI agents match products to customer intent, not just keywords. Users aren't just typing nouns anymore. They prompt the AI with a scenario, like, what's a good beginner pour-over setup?
Ah, I see.
So by explicitly stating it's for home baristas learning pour-over technique, the AI has a direct semantic bridge to that exact situational query.
Okay, that makes sense. But let me push back on this next part. Wait, why include a literal brewing tutorial in the product listing?
What do you mean?
Well, looking at the article, they added all these instructions, like the 1.15 coffee to water ratio, the 30 milliliter bloom at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds.
Right.
Isn't that overkill? Anyone dropping money on a specialty porcelain pour-over already knows how to use it, right? Why clutter the sales page with a tutorial?
Well, you're looking at it through the lens of a static human interface. You have to remember, the AI doesn't assume the customer has that knowledge.
Oh.
If a user asks the AI, how do I brew pour-over coffee at home? They're asking for educational content. The AI wants to provide a zero-click answer right there in the chat.
Without making them click a link to a blog.
Exactly. So by embedding the instructions directly in the product listing, the AI can now recommend this specific product and use your built-in instructions to answer the query.
Oh, wow. So the AI is basically stealing your homework to sound smart to the user.
Basically, yeah. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. It retrieves your high-quality instructions, explains the 1.15 ratio to the user, and naturally cites your product as the perfect tool for the job.
That is brilliant. It vastly increases the likelihood of a recommendation.
It really does.
Okay, well, here's where it gets really interesting. Because this translation from human to AI doesn't stop at the visible text on the page.
Not at all.
It extends deep into the back-end code that most shoppers never even see, the invisible architecture. Let's look at the product tags.
The tags are a huge part of this.
Right. The original tags were so useless. Just coffee, handmade, gift. But the new ones are highly functional. Things like pour-over V60 style, single origin brewing, and gift for a coffee lover.
Because a generic tag like gift maps to millions of unrelated products. It dilutes the relevance. But a hyphenated specific tag creates a dense semantic anchor.
Okay, but looking at the image alt text, I have another question.
Sure, go ahead.
The old alt text was just lifestyle shot. The new one is incredibly literal. Dripper in use on glass server, water being poured in circular motion.
Very descriptive.
Yeah, but can't advanced AI agents just use computer vision these days? Like, if they look at the photo, they can clearly see it's a cream white dripper being used on a glass server. Why manually spell it out?
That's a great question. Multimodal vision models are powerful, sure, but AI shopping agents still lean heavily on textual descriptions and structured metadata.
Really? Why?
It comes down to computational cost and ambiguity. Ambiguity is the enemy of AI recommendations. Computer vision is basically an educated guess.
Right, it's inferring what the image is.
Exactly. But if a metafield explicitly states the capacity is 250 milliliters and it's dishwasher safe, there is no inference required. The AI just reads the facts. Plus, running vision models across thousands of product images is expensive computationally.
Oh, that makes total sense. They want the path of least resistance.
Precisely. Structured metadata, like JSON-LD or metafields, serves the AI the exact database schema it wants to ingest.
Wow. Okay, so having established how this optimization works, we really need to talk about the broader market implications of this invisible data layer.
Yeah, the discoverability advantage here is massive.
It really is.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the real genius of this approach is that the human shopper's experience is 100% preserved.
Right. They still see the beautiful photos. They still read the artisan's story about the mindful pleasure.
Exactly. But the AI's experience goes from hitting a blank wall to having a fully illuminated roadmap.
The problem is, according to the article, the vast majority of Shopify stores are currently stuck in that before phase.
The data gap is staggering. Most catalogs are completely devoid of this back-end structure.
So what does that mean for merchants?
It means the merchants who close this gap right now, before agentic commerce fully takes over, will dominate AI recommendations for years.
Really? Just by having better data?
Yep. Not because their coffee drippers are objectively better, physically speaking, but simply because their data is complete. The AI trusts the complete data.
But the sheer scale of the problem, I mean, manually rewriting a massive catalog with all these granular details is practically impossible. You can't just sit there and manually write 11-centimeter diameter for 5,000 different SKUs.
No, it's a logistical nightmare for a human team, which is why tools like Agentic Lens are stepping in.
Right. The article mentions they use software to score catalogs and automate these AI-optimized rewrites.
Exactly. They programmatically identify missing nodes in the knowledge graph and use AI to generate the structured payloads while still preserving the brand voice.
Using machine efficiency to satisfy machine requirements.
It's the only viable path forward at scale.
So what does this all mean? As we wrap up this deep dive, the core takeaway for you, learner, is that in the age of AI, evocative storytelling isn't enough anymore. You have to back up the poetry with hard, structured facts.
This raises an important question, though, not just for merchants, but for us as consumers.
Oh, what's that?
We have to think critically about how the products we discover online are being served to us. The ones that surface at the top might just be the ones with the best metadata, not necessarily the best physical attributes or quality.
Wow, that is such a good point. We're trusting the AI's filter, and its filter prioritizes data clarity over actual physical quality.
Exactly.
Which leaves me with a final thought for you to mull over, learner. If all e-commerce eventually optimizes perfectly for these literal fact-obsessed AI shopping agents, will our online world become rigidly standardized?
Right. Just a sea of data points.
Yeah. Or will clever merchants find entirely new, invisible ways to encode human emotion right into the cold, hard data itself?
That's the million-dollar question.
Maybe one day we will figure out how to give a robot driving directions using a poem after all. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.